Hello, everyone, to our next noon conversation. This is about the team that is creating localized Khan Academy content in Urdu. But before we talk about that, a little bit about Khan Academy itself. It was an organization that started formally in 2010, but it goes back to 2004-5 when somebody by the name of Salman Khan, he goes by Sal, started making YouTube videos to explain high school level math to his cousin. And it so happened that that content, because it was made in such an empathetic manner, and because Sal made this content made it very accessible. It went straight to the content itself and didn't have himself on the screen. It went viral just the way it was made, and because he was the main voice behind the content, learners established a direct relationship with him. So over the years, Sal was able to cover not just math. He realized he could do all of math and the sciences as well. And all this content came to be known as Khan Academy. Then Khan Academy became a phenomena, a nonprofit where other bona fide nonprofits started partnering with Khan Academy and also made their content, like British Museum, like California Academy of Sciences, NASA, made their content available on Khan Academy as well. So it had those networking effects associated with it. What is now happening is a very capable team in Pakistan is looking at that content, and this has happened in some other countries as well, such as Mexico for Spanish. In Brazil, Portuguese was localized. In France, French was localized, and in Turkey, the portal was made available in Turkish. So now a team is localizing, and we'll talk about the localizing process. The original content that's available in English into Urdu, and we'll talk about the localization process. So I'll turn the mic over next to Beagle, who's the manager of the project. So Beagle, if you could share a little bit about yourself, what brought you to this project, that'd be great to hear.
Thank you so much. Well, my name is Beagle, as you told everybody. I am a writer by profession, and most of the times I'm writing for screen and theater, and I also write short stories. So I have no training as an educationist, I would say, or in academics. So when this project came to me, it was actually you who brought it to me, Bilal. So when I talked to you first, I had no idea what I was talking about, right? I was totally lost. I knew what Khan Academy is because my own children were taking help from their tutorials. But I did not know how I am going to help it, right? And if I can do it, and if I have the ability to do it. But once we talked about the whole philosophy of Khan Academy, and I, sat down with the videos and tried to understand what it was all about. It was a very unconventional way of giving a support to the education system, which I felt deprived of as a student when I was studying in Pakistan, right? That empathy, that understanding of the basic concepts were missing. We had that typical authoritative tone of a teacher, and we were very scared of most of our science subjects. I was very scared of mathematics myself as a student. So that is something I could relate to directly. And then I could also make out, because there's just, as you have mentioned, that it was just a voice on the screen, which is a very powerful character itself. And I, luckily being related to the media industry, to theater and films and television, knew these gems who are here today with us, who had this great disposition they have that ability to convey things in a manner that are very effective, that can touch the hearts, that they are very candid, they are very friendly, and that's a very non-teacher thing, I would say. They are capable of doing that. So when I started gathering the team, it was so exciting initially, when I was auditioning them and talking to them. All of them were thrilled, excited, wanted to be part of it. All of them knew what Khan Academy was. And that was also very exciting to know, okay, already they had this understanding and knowledge of Khan Academy and they wanted to be part of it. And I think it came from all of them that we really wanted to be taught like this. Now we have an opportunity to impart that kind of knowledge through that a very unconventional way of teaching. They were very, very thrilled and excited. That kept me going also. So I think in very less time, we just, they actually, got together. It was not me bringing them together. They actually were very willing, connected, energetic, excited. Let's do it. So here they are. And the kind of videos they are producing and creating are mind-blowing. It's just so impressive. I've gone back to my grade 1 and I'm studying each and every through them. My maths concepts are getting clear. My physics, chemistry especially, which I thought was a very boring subject, has come out so well. Also, what I thought of was that every child in my country, even in the remotest area where he has an access to the internet, can actually understand the concepts and can actually have an access to this kind of education. That was very moving for me also. And that keeps me going whenever I'm watching a video now, since we are producing them, I can actually visualize or imagine a child from different provinces who can actually understand, because the barrier of that language, that foreign language, is gone to quite an extent. So that's very, very motivating for me.
Thank you, Beagle. So I guess in all transparency, I should have mentioned that I had a prior association with Khan Academy, in the sense I was part of the founding team, and I was made in charge of internationalization of the platform when I was working for Khan Academy many years ago. So I had that insight into what that localization process looked like, how it iterated, and working with different teams in different countries. So that's what, so I am associated with this team in the sense that I continue to have this dialogue around whatever the best practices were as they evolved in different countries. So we are in the company of friends. we know each other.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, it's a pleasure to hear about how the universe conspired to bring all of us together. So thank you, Beagle. Would love to hear about, because in the end, when localization happens and we do a literal translation of the content, the content creators will share their own process of localization. But would love to hear from Khalid Saab, who's our language guide, what kind of nudges he's been bringing on to the team to help them do an effective job in localizing the content. Khalid Saab.
Hello everyone, my name is Khalid Ahmed. I am an actor, director, teacher. I was initially trained in engineering, electrical engineering, and taught electrical engineering at NED University for many, many years. Then I made a dramatic shift towards drama and performing art. And I became fully involved in theater and television, acting, direction, etc. And at the moment, I am teaching in the theater department at National Academy of Performing Arts, NAPA, which exists in Karachi. So that is my background. I have therefore have a teaching experience of a certain kind, not of this particular kind. But what I can say is that I had heard about Khan Academy, but I had never had the opportunity to look at their videos and try and find out more about them, because I do not have children, I do not have grandchildren. So that was never necessary. But now, when I had the opportunity to look at these videos, I started envying the children of today, because we were taught maths and physics and chemistry and biology, these subjects, very badly. And we understood nothing, we took home nothing. We studied for the exam and forgot everything after the exam. No one bothered to explain to it the significance and the applicability of what we were studying, and also nobody bothered to explain the concepts of why something is the way it is. And and even today, every year we come across with a new group of students at Napa also, who are not from a privileged background at all. They are very, very underprivileged boys and girls. And I feel that they have been taught nothing, and they have been actually cheated. They have been heavily cheated by the system, which taught them nothing, and which is very unfair. I do not blame those students, but I blame the system of education, which was very unfair to them. So, Khan Academy, I feel, can be a great help to make these boys and girls interested in what they are being taught, especially in science subjects, but all subjects, just to make them interested by making them understand the concepts and the logic behind things. And that is fantastic. I envy them. If I had that access when I was studying, I would have understood these subjects much better.
And in the process that you went into, because you were also providing, all of these individuals are capable actors. They have a theater drama background, but you did also give them voice coaching so that they can bring a greater degree of energy and empathy to when they get around to the business of creating content. Any thoughts you'd like to share on that account?
Voice, of course, is part of expression. The most immediate tool of expression for any human beings are words. Other tools of expression have to be developed and learned, but words is something that you learn as a child, and you express yourself mostly through your speech and your words. The whole idea of teaching voice and speech is to make you more expressive in terms of what you are expressing. So that, number two, one, you can grab the attention of the listener. Number two, you can make it exciting for the listener. And number three, the way you express yourself, you communicate better. You communicate your material much better to the listener. So it's not about developing a good voice or a bad voice as such. It's about making the voice more expressive. That's what it is. Sorry, as far as the language is concerned, the language that we are using, now it's getting easier and easier for me because everyone is now has got into understood what kind of language. Our only challenge is to keep the language simple, accessible to everyone, not get into difficult Urdu, very everyday spoken language, and yet a good language.
So thank you, Khalid Saab, for sharing your thoughts, and we might come back to you with some more questions. But let's keep our conversation going, and let's talk to the content creators themselves who have been voicing their subject matter. And let's start with the most fundamental building block, which has been primary mathematics. And let's hand the mic over to Usman, who's our primary math content creator, and ask him some thoughts that he has about the content he's creating. Usman.
Thank you so much, Bilal Saab, for having me at this session. As you've mentioned, I'm taking care of primary math videos for Khan Academy, and I never expected that all my past experience would sum up into one job that I do, because I've had a teaching experience for over 15 years. I started teaching in 2004, and teaching, and realized that math and teaching both came naturally to me. I feel very blessed that I was able to understand where the students were struggling to understand math, but I never taught primary math. I used to teach secondary math or high secondary math, and maybe later on started teaching in universities as well. So while doing that, I've always had a passion for acting, and a time came when I had to quit teaching and move into acting full time. I used to do theater alongside teaching, but then came Khan Academy, and I got to know about it. And I still remember कि मुझे जब feedback दिया गया interview पे, तो यही कहा कि आपकी जो teaching experience थी, जो बाकी सारी चीजें थी, वो are the main factors because of which I'm being hired. And that was something of surprise to me कि यार अच्छा stand up comedy भी यहाँ काम आएगी, acting भी यहाँ काम आएगी, teaching तो आई ही, और वीडियोस बनाते हुए हर वक्त मेरा यही ध्यान होता है कि what would a student feel when they're watching this video. तो आपको as a student सोचना होता है, then as a teacher सोचना होता है, to how to break it down in the most simplest of forms. Never assume कि ये बच्चा ऐसे तो समझ गया होगा, but I think that's about it. I'm finding it a lot of fun doing this. It's learning for me. So it's that kind of a situation जहाँ आप teacher भी हैं, आप student भी, आप सीख भी रहे हैं, आप सिखा भी हैं. तो ये एक बड़ी मज़ेदार चीज़ होती है. And I hope that the videos we make help out a lot of students here in Pakistan and elsewhere, whoever wants to understand these subjects.
Yeah, and even beyond the primary math content in particular can go beyond also the Urdu language, because it's such a beyond reading, writing. I think arithmetic is like the next fundamental need that children have to navigate life. So Kumail, if you could share some thoughts how well, I'll let you talk about what you'd already been doing in the sciences, and then your thoughts around how you are reaching out to learners when it comes to higher order mathematics.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for including me in this session and for giving us this opportunity. I had, as you mentioned, I had already been doing a couple of things before I joined Khan Academy. So I'll just introduce myself, I'm like Khalid Saab, I'm an engineer by education, mechanical engineer specifically. And uske alawa, I act and I do stand-up comedy as well. I do improvisational comedy as well. And character acting is what I love about acting and is my specialty. But professionally speaking, I'm a teacher. So I have a purely academic background, you can say. I've been teaching physics for the past 5 years. So physics is my primary subject, not particularly math. But of course, in order to understand physics, you need to have a certain level of understanding of math, which, I mean, your math needs to be stronger than physics in order to understand and then be able to explain physics as well. Right before Khan Academy, I had, since I've been teaching for the past 5 years, I've always had this idea to have a YouTube channel just like Khan Academy, inspired by Khan Academy actually to an extent. But not just Khan Academy, but I also incorporate a lot of other things. And I had this idea in mind that there should be a YouTube channel where education should be done in an extremely unconventional way. The number of skills that I've acquired over the past 32 years of my life, if I could somehow combine all of them, and I don't know, I just had an idea of starting a YouTube channel, and then I came across some other channels as well. I came across other content creators, content presenters, comedians, and I combined all of them. And in February, I started this channel by the name of Bin Physic, in which I teach physics in character. And it's a comedy-based channel, and a lot of quirkiness is involved. And about this channel, I tell everyone that I do a lot of quirky things more than teaching. And I've almost reached 3,000 subscribers by now. But ever since I've joined Khan Academy, I haven't been putting up content because I mean, all my efforts are directed towards this. So what I do over there is I have different characters. And so when it comes to education, I think that with the advent of YouTube and so many technological advancements that we have, and as Khalid Saab mentioned, and as Usman Bhai also mentioned, it is tyrannical, really. It is zulm hai कि if we have so many tools at our disposal, and if we still continue to teach in the normal, conventional, boring way, in which, like Khalid Saab mentioned, people just prepare for exams and extending upon what Usman Bhai said, that the purpose of education had become just, getting a good education, credentials, rather than education. So I think it needs to go beyond credentials, and that's where Khan Academy is at, and that really excited me about Khan Academy. So that's about it, I guess.
Thank you, Kumail. I watched some of your videos around imaginary numbers and difficult concepts to explain, and appreciate the quirkiness that you're bringing to the equation.
Yeah, with Leonhard Euler crying and René Descartes being badass. And that's where it's at.
Good stuff. So moving right along, with this mathematics content out there, one of the things that we were really excited about it, how we're also showcasing, stepping a little bit outside of our STEM domain to an area where mathematics is applied, and that is in finance and economics. So I was wondering if our in-house content creator Sharik is very passionate about this subject domain and has a lot of thoughts around how content can be created and made relevant to curious minds. Sharik.
Hello, everybody. So, if like everybody else, I'm really grateful to be a part of this team. So, thank you to you, Bilal sir, to Beagle, and to all of you for having me in, and at many moments tolerating me as well. So, my degree is in economics. I did a bachelor's in economics from LUMS, which was, ironical. It was not planned. But right after my A-level, I had to do chartered accountancy. But at that time, I went to Napa Sir Khalid was my teacher there as well. So I started studying theater arts, but I realized that no, I need the conventional education as well. So I ended up at LUMS. I did my bachelor's there, and in all this time, I started teaching in 2008. So I have been a teacher for math, for economics, for Pakistan studies as well. All these various subjects I've been teaching them for 12 years, and in these 12 years I've also had the chance to be in the management positions of some educational networks of Pakistan. Even at LUMS, I was the teaching assistant for some courses, or I was involved with developing some courses. So I was involved with developing some policies there as well, in the student community. So um, that gave me a very wholesome idea of what is inclusive education, because um, being like when I was growing up, we always thought that doing O and A level was something very classy, and that that was the only education that there is. The other people were like not, there was nothing. So growing up with that mindset, unlearning that and relearning what education should actually be. And then I always had this passion. I always tell people when I introduce myself that my ultimate passion of life is to reach at a point in my life where I can come up with some organization that gives free education to all the children of Pakistan. So I was talking about this in one sitting, and one person said, "Okay, great, but what is education?" I was like, what the education? No, but what is education? And I had no good answer to that guy. And then I started realizing how bigger and deeper the meaning of this word education or knowledge is. Carrying on with that vision, uh, so I've also written a lot of theater plays. I've acted in them. I've directed them. So very recently, I made a career choice that I would be full-time pursuing storytelling as a writer, director, and an actor. And in all this time, I came across this opportunity, and I realized that what better than this? That my entire academic passion, my academic learning, my academic expertise of economics, and my decision to kind of pursue writing, acting, and direction, because a lot of elements of those things also come into the video creation, came together. So it sounded great, and I was extremely enthusiastic about it, because uh, one of my few loves is also Urdu language. Chai and Urdu language. So now all of it coming together felt really nice. And then the idea of accessibility was also great, that anybody who knows Urdu can access it. Um, so that's where I was really excited about it. And as far as the treatment is concerned, so in the very beginning when I joined the team, and we all also talked at that time, so we said that let's make finance and economics this particular project. Let's make it the way that anybody can kind of say that, all right, this is not too difficult to grasp, and I can also kind of bring it into my life. So my focus of creating finance and economics is to take it from the fancy auditoriums of big universities and bring it to the streets of Pakistan. That you do not have to be sitting at a particular place in a particular environment to learn this and to apply this in your life. So the entire finance and economics content that I'm creating with this approach, that anybody, be it a housewife, a small-time entrepreneur, or someone who runs a huge business but never had formal finance education, anybody watches these videos and says that all right, I'm applying this into my life or my business, or in however way I can use this. So using the concept of storytelling, what I do in my videos is this, that I have tried to design a world in my head first and then bring it into my videos, that when you start from the first video, and I'm also trying to conceive the videos in a way that even if you like join me somewhere in the middle, you are in a world, you feel like you are in a neighborhood, and the examples and the entire financial functioning of this world comes from this very world. It seems like you live in that world, and then you see that, all right, this person does this or this person does this, and they do this that way. So again, when I spoke with Beagle for the first time, we said we have to bring in empathy, we have to bring in kindness, And in order to bring in empathy, you need to talk to people in a way that they understand. If I sit here and try to tell a person that, all right, XYZ bank does this, and they've never been to a bank, they'll be confused. But I take them to a biryani shop and say, all right, this shop does that. This is how finance and economics comes into this shop's functioning or into this neighborhood's functioning. So this is how I do it, that I've created some characters and I plan to bring in more characters. And via characters, I envision that, we can bring in financial literacy to the streets and, nooks and hooks in the corners of Pakistan. So that's the vision that I'm trying to follow. And I hope we all mutually achieve it.
Great. Thank you, Sharik. And I'd like to come back to some of the thoughts around storytelling and tie it in with what is, there's an emerging consensus in the K-12 education sector, how essential social and emotional learning is. That, everything that a child learns, first and foremost, needs to have a social and emotional context. Only then do children develop quicker and stronger synaptic connections in their mind. So in that way, when approaching the sciences, would love to hear from Saqib, as he's laying the foundations, the fundamentals of the cosmos. And Saqib, I love your videos, man. So it would be great to hear the approach you have taken to physics, the building blocks of science.
Sir, thank you so much. My name is Saqib Khan, and my story is quite similar to Khalid, who's also my teacher and my mentor. And now I also graduated from NED I got a degree in electronics engineering, and I taught the same for a couple of years at NED. And then eventually I also kind of switched my career choice, and I joined National Academy of Performing Arts, NAPA, where I studied performing arts. And then eventually I went on teaching performing arts as well at NAPA for a couple of years too. So I have always had this infatuation with this whole teaching process, this learning and teaching process. And for me, the best way to learn is to teach. Somehow I have come to this conclusion. In fact, I started teaching and I was an intermediate. My mom used to teach a lot of kids at my house, that tuition thing. So I was the one. She was not really good with mathematics, so I was the one who used to teach them mathematics. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. I used to make some good pocket money as well out of it, and I loved the whole process. And it kind of stayed with me eventually as I went on with my career as well. So ironically, I was thinking of starting something of my own, as Kumail mentioned, a YouTube channel of my own, when Beagle contacted me and told me about this whole Khan Academy venture. And I was like, this is brilliant, amazing. I would love to do this. And this is how it kind of started. And that is kind of about it.
Great. No, it's we're missing two of our colleagues here. Rabia, who's creating biology content, and Sundus, who's creating chemistry content. And I would highly encourage anyone interested in the content that the team is creating to go on the YouTube site. It's youtube.com/Khan Academy Urdu, one word. So you'll get to the channel, and then within that channel there are playlists per video for you to see. So I want to go. I do want to go back a little bit to Khan Academy's philosophy. When it got created, it was Sal is credited to being one of the pioneers in this space of how content got created for a global audience. But at its heart, the intention was really to decouple learning from assessment. So all this content was created for anyone who's curious about a topic, subtopic, and make it like bite-sized 5-minute videos. And that was serendipitous that YouTube had a constraint on making, just like 5-minute videos at that point. So these bite-sized videos address a certain topic, and they were made in a manner that made them accessible. Of course, there was an element of empathy, humor in each video. There's also this approach of not being high-handed. So every video kind of starts with some curiosity, and then the content creator satisfies that curiosity by the end of the video. So making the learner and the teacher per se at par. So so this curiosity based or creating a resource that satisfies curiosity based or discovery led learning is completely in line with where educators are today and are recommending education ought to be, instead of being instructional. And creating this resource in the long run, like I think I'll ask Beagle in that regard, like what her hopes are in terms of where this content can eventually go, and who can utilize this content.
Well, this is as I mentioned earlier, this is my basic motivation, and I guess everyone else who's here on the team is that when we do imagine of the students, of the children of Pakistan being deprived of this kind of learning and education, it's not only about imparting the education, I would say it's also creating some intellectual and cultural space for them through the language all of us share, that is Urdu, and giving them the basic education so they can, it will enhance the thinking process and eventually give some space to their intellect and their culture, and they can come together as Pakistanis speaking this national language and understanding the basic fundamentals of science and mathematics. So that's, and once the videos started coming, as I said, I was the first one to give the feedback on it. And I took it as I am the student of these science subjects and mathematics, because I was never taught like this ever in my life. Also, I come from a family of educationists, and I was kind of a rebel in that why do I have to, teach when everybody else in the family was teaching? So I just put my foot down and said, I don't want to teach. But I ended up writing stories, which is a kind of, sharing something that I could with my viewers. So again, this is what we are doing here as all the video makers or the content creators, that they are telling stories, not only doing simple mathematics or physics or chemistry or biology in that case. Like biology video creator Rabia, we're missing her today here. I hope she joins in. She is telling the story how the life originated. Or if Saqib, as we said, the story of cosmos is there. So their passion for the subject is there. Or Sharik actually is localizing the finance and economics in a way that he teaches people of Pakistan, not only the students, but maybe the a common person who would want to set up a small business can actually get the education or the awareness what economics or finance is all about. Or the primary mathematics video creator Usman, being a stand-up comedian, has that quirkiness, the natural flow in it. He knows how to grab attention of a child also. And he makes it so easier when he was just making a video of 1 + 1 = 2 was so interesting that I got engrossed also, So their disposition is great, and I think the project is really, really huge when I think of it. And I keep on talking to my team about it, that just imagine a child maybe in Balochistan or KPK or Sindh or Punjab actually learning something that he was deprived of in this language, because the basic language barrier of English, which he was never taught in, is not there. Right. So blurring that boundary and creating a bridge, and that too in a very empathetic way. and in a very friendly, candid manner, right? Rather than being an authority as a teacher. You're talking to them and trying to solve things together.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything that you said. And what I've seen, now it's moved on. Like being fortunate to be part of the Khan Academy team, it was great to see all this resource get created and made available for free to the public, for the global public. Having said that, so much more content has since, the cat is now out of the bag. Anyone can create content and make it available to a global audience. So now there's a plethora of content out there that you can find. And but in a localized setting, this project is going to create something very useful, valuable, and permanent to the public. And it can maybe then be used by all kinds of platforms. So Noon Academy per se, like it's agnostic in terms of the resources that get used by a teacher to build assignments around or quizzes around. So any teacher deciding to use any kind of content to further explain a concept will be able to use these videos as well, and as will other education technology platforms. So the ubiquity of knowledge and resources then makes it possible for more capable teachers to then build, to nurture thinking around them. And so I do want to conclude our discussion today on the thought of asking questions. How great it would be to rise above just um, or put knowledge under the purview of a question, because at the end of the day, that is what every human child has as an instinct, as a desire to actually satisfy a curiosity. So it's all about questions and then further questions, and underlying those questions is an emotion that the child is feeling. Um, so I would like to go back to the thought of questions. We were and maybe anybody who wants to talk about the idea of asking the right questions, and how does one do that in their own subject matter or in their own sphere.
All right. When a child grows up from infancy, so he or she has that curiosity of understanding things or exploring things, and very soon in that age, the child gets confused, where you hand that child a ball, you ask the child to throw the ball, and then that child picks up another object and he's told he's not supposed to throw that. So things like these develop that curiosity inside the child of what needs to be done, doesn't need to be done, what's the purpose of everything. And sadly, we always answer such things with what's right or what's wrong, what should be done, what not should be done, without even giving the reason behind that. So I feel that keeping that curiosity alive inside a person is very important, because only that would lead that person to explore further on understanding more things, and whether it's understanding a subject, whether it's understanding anything about life, about emotions, as long as that person is curious and wants to explore and evolve. So it is extremely important for us as video creators to keep that in mind. Like Bilal just mentioned, that raising that question in the head and making sure that that question is answered, and at the same time it leads to another question that the person would want to explore, maybe in the further videos or by themselves. So keeping the curiosity alive, and at the same time encouraging to explore more.
Thank you all for joining our noon conversation at noon today. And wish the project well. I for one, and I'm extremely excited about it. Beagle, any word on when this project will get completed, or any thoughts around that?
as we've just started 2 months ago, and the way we are going, all of them are on fire, I would say. It's coming very naturally to them, and we're hoping that the project should be completed in 2 years' time. That's what we're looking into. That's what our plan is, and hopefully we'll be able to manage that.
Yeah, no, it's of course I feel very strongly about the project, and if there's anyone out there who wants to know about it, you can go on Khan Academy's website and find out more. Write on the message board on where this video is posted, and the team can reach out to you. But they do need funding to complete the project. So that is something you can definitely support the project with whatever you are. So we'll conclude today's talk. Thank you all for joining, and have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
और एस समोसों की मिकदार है, इसलिए दोनों के यूनिट्स होंगे समोसों की कुल कीमत बटा समोसों की कुल मिकदार, यानी 2 रुपए फी समोसा। इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि बशीर बेकरी में एक समोसा 2 रुपए का मिल रहा है। पता नहीं बशीर बेकरी मेरे घर के आसपास क्यों नहीं है, इतना सस्ता समोसा। तो भाई हमारी ज़िंदगी तो हो गई आसान, क्योंकि पहले 3 मुमकिनात बिल्कुल ठीक निकले, लेकिन बाकी 2 मुमकिनात से हमारी कोई ज़ाती दुश्मनी नहीं है, तो इनको भी देख लेते हैं। तो यहाँ जब मुझे 20 से 5.5 तक पहुँचना है, तो क्या मैं 1/4 से 20 को ज़रब दे के पहुँच सकती हूँ? अब भाई 20 का 1/4 हिस्सा तो 5 होता है ना, तो ये गलत इम्कान होगा।
एक हाइड्रोजन के एटम में प्रोटॉन होता है 1, और अगर हम किसी न्यूट्रल हाइड्रोजन की बात कर रहे हैं तो इसमें न्यूट्रॉन होगा कोई नहीं, और इलेक्ट्रॉन भी होगा 1। अच्छा, मैंने बात की थी कि अगर ये न्यूट्रल हाइड्रोजन होगा, तो अब आपका सवाल ये बनना चाहिए कि क्या किसी और किस्म का हाइड्रोजन भी मौजूद होता है। हो सकता है कि आपको इस फॉर्मूला से भी तसल्ली ना हुई हो और आप सोच रहे हो कि ठीक है 6 कार्बन और 6 हाइड्रोजन तो हैं, मगर ये आपस में किस तरह जुड़े हुए होते हैं। तो आपके इस सवाल का जवाब देने के लिए हमें जाना पड़ेगा एक और फॉर्मूला की तरफ, और उसको हम कहते हैं स्ट्रक्चरल फॉर्मूला। यानी एक ऐसा फॉर्मूला है जो आपको बताएगा कि बेंजीन का ढांचा या उसका स्ट्रक्चर किस किस्म का है।
कोई जवाब नहीं, मगर दुनियाई रियाजी के एक बहुत अहम शख्स जनाब लियोनहार्ड ऑयलर को ये देख के नींद ना आ सकी, और उन्होंने सोचा कि हाँ, नेगेटिव रूट का कोई रियल या असल या हकीकी जवाब तो नहीं है। और क्योंकि कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर a+bi की शक्ल में होता है, इसलिए हम बीच में प्लस का साइन लगाएंगे और ये बनेगा z। अब हम इसे सिंप्लीफाई या मुख्तसर करें तो जवाब आता है -4 जमा 15i। इसको कार्टेशियन प्लेन इसलिए कहा जाता है कि रेने डेकार्ट, जो कि एक बहुत बड़े फलसफी और रियाजी दान थे, उन्होंने नंबर्स के इस तरह नक्शे खींचना शुरू किए थे या ग्राफ प्लॉट करना शुरू किए थे। तो हमारा ये रोजमर्रा वाला ग्राफ, जिसमें नंबर एक एक्स एक्सिस होता है और एक वाई एक्सिस होता है।
सो अगर इस यूनिट वेक्टर को इसके कंपोनेंट्स या इसके अज्जा की शक्ल में हम लिखें तो यूनिट वेक्टर u बराबर है 3 डिवाइडेड बाय वेक्टर a का मैग्नीट्यूड, 4 डिवाइडेड बाय वेक्टर a का मैग्नीट्यूड। 2.5 मीटर पर सेकंड की रफ्तार या स्पीड भी एक स्केलर मिकदार है, क्योंकि अदद कीमत यानी न्यूमेरिकल वैल्यू तो जाहिर है, मगर समत का कोई जिक्र नहीं है। W के इजहार या रिप्रेजेंटेशन का एक और तरीका जो आप अक्सर देखेंगे, तो W बराबर है ये इसका x कंपोनेंट 9, y कंपोनेंट -4।
और ये तीसरा सितारा इधर आ गया, और बातों बातों में मैंने ये भी बता दिया कि ये पहला है, ये दूसरा है, ये तीसरा है। इसका क्या मतलब हुआ? ये कितने खाने हुए? 1 2 और ये 3, यानी कि 2 में अगर मैं 3 जमा करूंगा तो मेरा जवाब आएगा 5।
मजे की बात क्या है, दिलचस्प बात क्या है, वो ये है कि 3 में 2 जमा करने से 5 मिलता है और 2 में 3 जमा करने से भी 5 मिलता है। यानी कि अगर आपको इसमें से एक चीज पता हो तो दूसरी चीज खुद ब खुद मालूम हो जाती है ना ये मजेदार बात। तो इन दो को कम करने के बाद अगर हम बाकी के बचे हुए डब्बे गिने तो हमारा क्या जवाब होगा? अरे वाह, ये तो गिनती वैसी हुई हुई है, ये 1 है, ये 2 है और ये है 3। वाह भाई वाह, तो हमारे पास तो इसका भी जवाब आ गया। पहले हमने देखा कि 2 में 3 जमा करने से या 3 में 2 जमा करने से 5 बन जाता है, या हमने देखा कि 4 में 1 जमा करने से 5 बनता है, या फिर 1 में 4 जमा करने से 5 बनता है। ठीक है जी, समझ आ गया जी, पक्की बात है जी। हाँ जी, डन हो गया जी।